Strap in and hold on tight. We're going to learn how to play some Goblin Rider. Let's get to it. What's going on, fellow tryhards? It's Tom with Tryhard Gaming, bringing you back a brand new video. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over how to play Goblin Riders. Right now, Phantom Nightmare is about 2 months away, give or take. Give 3 if you count the whole month of December, which is when I'll be recording this video. We're going to go over some of the options and some of the builds that I've been working with as of right now. One of the ones that I've been kind of working with, as you can see, is the PK Horus Goblin Rider. So it's going to either turn out really great or I'm going to burn the kitchen down with this one. So kind of go over we're going to kind of take it down piece by piece and see what cards, before we even get into the combo, we're going to see what kind of build we're working with here. So one of the first parts of this engine we're running is the new Horus engine that came out in Age of Overlord, which is going to be 3 Mseti, 1 Happy, and 1 Protection of Horus. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that name. But what this engine is absolutely crazy. If you open up just Mseti and you go Interrupted, you have a way to have an anti-nib combo just by that, because you run Photon Lord in here. So if you open up any of these or King Sark, you're pretty much gaming. So you run 3-1-1, and then I run 2 King Sark. These ratios are not final for me. I'm probably going to end up running 3 at the end of the day of King Sark because it's such a good card and I like seeing it. And I'll probably end up adjusting the ratios of some of the other Horus engine. So after that, we have the PK engine. I don't run the Adventure engine in this build as well because you do kind of need a normal summon for this build. So I've kind of made it very much so one way, so you're able to kind of just play freely as much as you can. So we run 3 boots and 3 cloak. Boots, for those who don't know, is a special summon from hand as long as you control a PK monster, and you can banish it from the graveyard and add a Phantom Knight spell or trap to your hand, usually being Fogblade. Cloak is the other version where it's able to, whenever it's in graveyard, you can banish it and then add any PK card. So it can add you a monster, it can add you a Fogblade, add you anything you want. And then you have your one of your normal summons is your Tornscales, who's able to discard a card and then Foolish a PK card from your deck. Very good to have. Again, all these have these graveyard send synergies. This deck seems to be very, in any capacity, is very weak to Droll or D-Shifter. So these cards are going to be very susceptible to those kind of hand traps. But if you go in uninterrupted and you don't get hit by a Droll, even then with Goblin Rider stuff, by the way, you're able to play through Droll to some extent, because you do run Tour Guide in this as well, but we'll get to that. Staingreaves is another way to where you can banish it and then special one from your hand. And if you also have it in a hand and you banish a card, or if you special summon a PK monster, then you're able to special him from hand. So he's a really good card to have as well. Your 3 Fogblade, it's your monster negate, and the monster you target, and if it gets through, they cannot attack with it either. So very good in terms of getting around a lot of your opponent's big monsters and big beaters that can be targeted. And this card also, if it gets into the graveyard, you're able to banish it and special a PK monster from the graveyard. And that can be Breaksword, and that can also be Rusty Bardage if it gets into the graveyard. Now we get into your Goblin engine, the part that everybody wants to see. So we have Clutter the Noisy. He's one of the new one. I only run 1 of him and Boon the Mock Speed. Both of these cards are very, very good. But I feel like these cards are going to be way better than what people expect, because even me testing this, I don't realize sometimes that these cards say detach from a monster on the field. So it doesn't have to be your own monsters per se that you detach from. You can detach a material from a monster on your opponent's side of the field to special these cards. So you're able to detach and get the benefits of these cards as well. Clutter is one that you could special during your opponent's turn. What you do is, if it's in your graveyard, you can detach a material from a monster and then special summon that card, but I believe it banishes when it leaves the field as well. And I believe Mionda is the same way. If you use her effect from Graveyard Recursion, she has to banish herself as well. So Mionda, that leads me to the next one. Mionda is going to be the one that is able to, whenever she is normal or special summon, you can special a goblin from your hand. And then if she's in the graveyard, you can detach one from a monster on the field and special her back to the field. But she vanishes when she leaves the field. With that being said, we'll get to the main starter of this deck, which is Doug, the Assaulter. These have some of the weirdest names, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of these are not going to be the same. But Doug is your main starter for the main fact that you can, not only can you special summon it from your hand if you detach a material, you can also use it use it to search your spells. So you're able to search any of your spell and traps, which would be a Grand Meeting of the Goblin Riders, which gives you an additional normal summon and also gives you 300 attack buff for each goblin monster on the field for each goblin. And it's got a third effect that lets you level modulate people. That's how you're able to get into Crazy Beast in this deck. So say you have 2 Dougs on the field. You have Grand Meeting on the field. You can activate Grand Meeting to either make a monster that you have the same level as another. So if you have a level 4 goblin monster, you can make them the same level, level 4, and then go into a rank 4. Or you can choose both Doug and the other Doug you control, or Doug and Beyonda, for example, and make them both level 6. That's how you get into your Crazy Beast. That's going to be absolutely crazy. No pun intended, but that's going to be absolutely nutty to get into. Then, of course, the one boon Mock Speed. He's able to just another generic special from grave or from hand. And if he's special that way, then you cannot special him until your next turn after. And then you have your 3 tour guide. What you're mainly doing with this, where Beyonda is a fiend, you're able to special out your first Goblin Rider, not use its effect, but immediately go into your main XYZ monster being Gabunga. So with that, you're able to extend even further and get your combo started with that engine. We have 1 Rhoda, pretty self-explanatory. A lot of your PK stuff is warriors, along with Doug being a warrior, and I think Boone. Boone is the other one. And then with this, you have 9 hand traps. Excuse me. You have 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, and your 3 Droplet. And then you have your Goblin Rider spells, which I mentioned earlier. What Grand Meeting does, Grand Arrival now. This card is awesome. I mean, it does so much. You're able to add a goblin from your deck to your hand. Then you're able to detach a card from a monster on field and then special summon a level 4 lower goblin monster from your hand. And then you can also banish this card from your graveyard, detach one from a monster on the field. Then you can add 1 goblin monster from your graveyard back to your hand. And you can use both of these effects once per turn. So you're able to use both of those effects. So that is absolutely great for this deck. I mean, it's really promising to see another rank 3 engine just be so strong and be able to build so much. Now we'll go ahead and get to we'll kind of skip over the side. The side's got very generic stuff right now. You can adjust that to however you want, but these are just some of the things that I'm probably going to play with. I'm probably going to play with a lot of the kaijus, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, like lava golems and sphere modes, that kind of thing, especially for Raid Raptor being a thing, and depending on what the ban list is going to look like, this is definitely going to change. Then we'll go ahead and get into the extra deck. So this needs some tuning as well, because I'm very hesitant on trying to pick what exactly I want, but I know I'm definitely going to put in Zeus and the Typhon package in here. Typhon's not in here currently, but I'll change that here in a little bit. Your rank 8s that you have Zombie Vampire and you have Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. If you open up Imseti or if you open up King Sark, you're able to immediately go into a Photon Lord pretty much. So you're able to go into your Photon Lord by making this rank 8 and make your combo nib proof. So you're just able to go special, and then from there go, okay, normal summon Tour Guide if you open up Tour Guide. So that's going to be one of the big 2-card combos that makes it completely anti-nib. So this is going to be absolutely insane to play with. Zombie Vampire is another way to get things into the graveyard that you want in the graveyard, and a lot of ways to get your opponent's stuff into the graveyard as well, so they can't play you're able to steal stuff and they can't play that card, or it gets a lot of the stuff that you're able to steal and reuse on your end as well. Your next card, we have Goblin's Crazy Beast, I mentioned earlier. It allows you to detach 2 materials off of any card on the field. and then if whenever a spell or trap card is activated, you can attach it to that card. So not only can you detach off of Gabunga if you keep adding material, that's another thing we'll get to here in a minute, but you can detach 2 off of the Gabunga and then use his effect to attach another material if your opponent has a monster. So this card is going to be absolutely crazy. Then the next 3 cards that we have is the Raider's Knight and the Break Sword, along with the Dark Requiem. This is another way to get to a monster negate through your deck. I've thought about trading this out for the Arc Rebellion Dragon, so you're able to kind of OTK people with that and just kind of gain the attack of all monsters. But this card's pretty good as well. It does something similar. You're able to detach a material and then change one face-up monster to 0, and then it gains the original attack equal, or gains attack equal to that original attack. So Dark Requiem is still a really good card, and it's a monster negate on top of that. And you can special summon a monster from your XYZ monster from your graveyard as well on top of all this. And that's just really handy. So if you can reborn your Gabunga, so you're able to kind of recycle him and then keep adding materials onto him if he hasn't activated. Then we get to Gabunga, the man, the myth, the legend. So he's he's one of the main stars that you're really going to go into to try to get to your other goblins in the deck. Because he, on summon, lets you add a Goblin Rider from your deck to your hand, and then whenever a monster is detached from a material on the field, you can target one other face-up monster on the field and attach it to this card as a material. And then during the end phase, this card will allow you to attach a Goblin monster from your deck directly to this card. It's crazy. And again, so you could just leave this card sitting, create a whole nother XYZ monster, and use the other ones that you have engraved to keep detaching from, and then just keep attaching to Gabunga, so you're able to make him one of the main things you detach from for Crazy Beast on your opponent's turn. Now we'll go ahead and get into the last generic style toolboxy thing I have, which is Levier. Whenever you banish your PK stuff from graveyard, you're able to kind of recycle it in that way. You're able to recycle your Ancient Cloak for one, being specialing it back into attack, and then using its effect targeting if you have Rusty Bardic on field, switching it to defense, giving Rusty Bardic another 800 attack through your turn and your opponent's turn. So it's really good to have, and you can also use that card as another XYZ material or another thing to link off with. Selene, this is kind of one of the other things I've been playing around with, because you're able to put spell counters on it. You're able to link off that and kind of link climb with it. It's probably going to be taken out for me. I'll probably end up putting Typhon in over this card because I'm still testing with it. And I think Typhon will be pretty good in this deck as well. Cherubini, really good card to send a lot of your stuff from deck to grave, especially get your PK engine started. Really good to have, and I think this card is just almost a necessity for this deck if you're trying to get things started and you start losing ways to play the game. If your opponent starts shutting you down, this card is a way to kind of get things into the graveyard and another way to continue on. IP Masquerena. So IP, really good card again on your opponent's turn. You're just able to link off and you're able to go into your Little Knight. So these 2 cards are kind of generic, just really good to have. I don't, I mean, they're just really good cards in general. So with this, we'll kind of go ahead and do some tweaking and tuning. We'll go ahead and switch that into a Typhon, and we will get this party started. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into one of the combos that we have here. So with this combo, we just start with a single tour guide. And this, again, most of these combos are going to be if you go uninterrupted. These combo lines can change varying to your hand and what your opponent plays in their hand. So if you're playing into a board, keep that in mind as well, that these are going to be a little different. But if you go first and you go uninterrupted, that's what the main thing about these combos are going to be. So let's say we normal summon or tour guide. We go tour guide effect. Tour guide is going to allow us to special out a Mionda from deck. And once we go into our Mionda, we are able to then overlay both Mionda and our tour guide and immediately go into our Gabunga. So a Gabunga is going to be able to activate right off the rip and add us a Goblin. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our extender for the Goblins. That is going to be Doug. So from here, what we'll do is, again, we will go ahead and declare Doug, detaching Mionda, and we will special summon our Doug. And then we will declare Doug's effect to search a spell or trap. And we were more than likely going to search out our... So here, if you have more cards in hand, you're going to grab Grand Arrival. But if you're just wanting to go ahead and see what the engine can do off one card, we'll go ahead and do the first way. We'll go ahead and add Grand Meeting. And then from here, we will activate Grand Meeting effect. Or no, we'll activate Mionda's effect to detach Tour Guide and then special Mionda back. We will not activate this. Again, this can change. You can activate Mionda if varying on your hand. This is off one card. So we will go ahead and activate Grand Meeting. We will declare Grand Meeting effect, target our Mionda and target our Doug, make them both level 6. And then we can overlay these two into our Crazy Beast. And again, you'll have a spell trap suck. It can negate if it's a field spell. It just won't get to fully activate. Gabunga, again, during the end phase, is going to allow you to attach a material to him. So you are able to attach any of the Goblin monsters. So I usually try to add Clutter if I have nothing else. But that's going to be the main first one-card combo with this deck. You're able to end on this. You're able to end on a monster Snatch Steal and a spell trap negate, potentially. I will say against a few decks, for example, like Branded Chimera, the moment that they crack off Chimera Fusion, you are able to use Crazy Beast effect on their turn, detaching 2 of your monsters, as well as whenever you detach on res. That still doesn't negate the Chimera Fusion, but whenever they go to resolve and special out the next monster, you are able to you're able to activate Gabunga to target, and that will eat up one of their negates as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with some of these 2-card combos. The first one I kind of want to go over is Doug, along with any of, mainly the Grand Meeting, which will give you another normal summon, or any of the other Goblin Rider names. So if you open up 2 different Goblin Riders, you usually have full combo, just for the pure fact that you're able to, well, any of the other ones and Doug. Doug is going to be the one, if it goes interrupted, to add you a Grand Arrival or to add you a Grand Meeting, so where you can have an additional normal summon for Goblin monsters. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and normal summon our Doug the Assaulter, and we will activate his effect to go ahead and add us our Grand Arrival. And that will be here. We'll add our Grand Arrival, and we don't have an XYZ monster to detach from to special it, but what we can do is we can add a Goblin monster, because you can still resolve the first part of the effect. You can add a Goblin monster from your deck to your hand. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and add that, and then we will add a... I believe we'll add a Mionda here, because this can vary depending on what you want to do. You can also go... you can go Doug, you can go another Doug here, or you can go any of the other various names, but I think Mionda is going to be the one that helps you out the most. So we're going to go ahead and add a Mionda to hand. And that'll resolve. And then we will go ahead and activate our Grand Meeting, so we can normal summon. And we will normal summon here. Again, this will change varying on if you have another Goblin Rider in your hand or not. If you do, you can activate this effect. If you don't have to activate it, but you can save it for a later time down in the combo to where you are able to actually special one from hand. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do something pretty stock and standard here. We can go into our Gabunga once again, and then activate his effect to search for a Goblin Rider. And we will grab our, we can add our boon, or we can add our clutter. We can add, again, any of the names here. But here we are probably going to go ahead and add our boon to hand. Now again, this is just the main, these are the main combos that we can get to the main Goblin Rider board. This is not including a lot of the Horus and PK stuff that we have in the deck already. If we open it up in the hand, we could be just blowing out crazy combos here. And I'll get to one of my favorite combo lines here in a little bit. So here we're going to go ahead and we're going to declare boon to detach Mionda. And we will special summon our boon here. And then now that we have Mionda in grave, we can declare Mionda effect to detach Doug. And then special out our Mionda. And here we can go ahead and use Grand Arrival once again to overlay these two, because we can use Grand Arrival to target both, make them level 6, and go into our Crazy Beast. And while we have this here in our hand as well, we can go ahead and even before, while we have this in the graveyard, we can use Grand Arrival effect to declare. We could detach one, but now is probably not the best time to do that. So if you wanted to, at this point, if you had another XLZ monster to detach from, which you more than likely will, you can banish Grand Arrival, detach one, and then re-add Doug for follow-up. So again, that's another way to get to the Goblin in board, or one of the main ones. And there is also a trap that I don't use. It's kind of like, it's similar to a Fog Blade, but I like using the PK part of that for that engine anyway. So let's go ahead and get into some of the other stuff, how this deck meshes together a little bit with some of the Horus engine. Alright, so let's go ahead and go over some of the other ways that these engines kind of mix together somewhat. So what we're going to do is kind of show you, I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the examples of what you can do with the Horus engine along with the PK engine and the Goblin Rider engine. So let's say we open up Imseti and these. I have all 4 of these here just to kind of give you an idea of if you see any combination of like Imseti, a Goblin Rider card, preferably Mionda, or any of the PK monsters, then you are off to the races. You are just doing absolutely crazy things with this board. So we'll go ahead and start by activating our handy dandy Imseti, pitching him. And for the PK, or for the Goblin Rider purposes, we'll go ahead and pitch our Goblin Rider. And we, from here, will add our King Sark. So King Sark is just an absolutely busted card for this. You're able to just pitch cards from your deck up to 4 times per turn, along with discarding a card. So with this, and also if, once per turn at the start of your damage step, if a monster battles a Horus monster, you can send the other one to the graveyard. So it's crazy. It's really good. So what we'll do here is we will go ahead and we will activate our King Sark, and we will declare its effect to pitch our Ancient Cloak. Or, excuse me, I didn't even resolve Imseti. Imseti lets you draw a card. Awesome. We will pitch our Cloak, and then we will we'll go ahead and foolish our Happy here. Now here we can do a variety of different things. We could go ahead and special our Imseti along with our Happy, because we control a King Sark on the field. And then here, this is where you get to the anti-nib combo. You overlay these two, and you are able to go into your Photon Lord. And Photon Lord is going to prevent, it's going to negate monster effects, quick effect, and it's not a once per turn. So you're able to do multiple in a same chain as well. But it's only if you detach a Photon monster that it fully negate destroys, which you're not worried about. You just want to negate, because when you detach, you have Gabunga on the field to attach that card as a material. For example, now we can kind of go, since we haven't normal yet, we could either normal our tour guide and go into another Meonda, or from here we could go into Rhoda and normal summon a Torn Scales, which I think that's what we'll actually do. We'll go ahead and activate Rhoda, and we'll view, and we will go ahead and grab our Torn Scales from our deck. It will load. Maybe. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to add Torn Scales to hand. And then from here, I will actually go Tour Guide. I mean, it's another way to get to level 3. So we'll do that. Tour Guide effect. And we will bring out a Meonda. And then we can overlay these two to go into our Doug, or go into our Gabunga, and then Gabunga searches Doug. And then at this point, we could either use Doug's effect in hand to special him from hand, or we could use Meonda's effect. So that's what we'll do here. We'll use Meonda's effect, Engrave, to detach a Meonda, and then special a different Meonda from grave. And then we will declare Meonda effect to special from hand, which we will special summon Doug. And now here we can declare Doug's effect to either add the extender for Grand Arrival, or we could add the extra normal summon. So what we'll do here is we will probably add the Grand Arrival, so we're able to actually, we'll go ahead and just go bare basics here. We'll go into Grand Meeting. And then here, we can go Grand Meeting. Grand Meeting effects target your Doug and your Meonda to make them both level 6. And we will overlay these two to go into our Crazy Beast. And you have pretty much the full board plus the anti-nib Photon Lord on the field. And also, if we decided to go a little bit further into the combo, we can also declare King Sark to pitch our Torn Scales, and also Foolish another Horus card, which we will pitch the Protection of Horus here. And we could also special summon that card as well. But the important part here is we can declare Ancient Cloak effect to banish, and then add a card to hand. We can add our Silent Boots to hand, and then because we banished a card from graveyard, we can now special our Torn Scales back. And now that we have a PK, we can special out Silent Boots. So we can special out Silent Boots, and here we can either go into another rank 3 play, being Breaksword, or we could go into a IP or any other card. We can go ahead and go into SP just to have, or we could just simply go into preferably it's probably going to be IP here if we do anything, because we're able from here to bring out IP and then go SP the moment we can't use anything else, or we're able to go into our Cherubini line, which we can. Again, this deck is just so open to many different options, so we're able to do so much here. You're ending on several interruptions as well. You have the Spell Trap Suck from Crazy Beast. You have the Gabunga Detach. You have the 2 Monster Negates from Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord, and you have IP whenever you run out of here. If you can, well, that'll get banished because we specialed it, and that'll go to grave. Let's say we go here, IP, and then we also have Silent Boots engraved, so we could banish Silent Boots and go ahead and grab us a Fog Blade, and we will grab our Fog Blade. So this is your inboard. This is the really big inboard that you can end on. You can also end on the Draco Utopic Future The Draco Utopic Future line as well, which you will end on something similar. You'll end on a Draco Utopic Future instead of a Galaxy S Photon Lord. But I believe if you open up any of the Horus stuff, this is going to be the main monster you want to shotgun, so you can prevent Nibiru getting dropped on you. To me, it's kind of similar to how Sprite likes to play. They want to go ahead and get out something like Gigantic, so they can go ahead and shotgun it into a way so your opponent either has to activate Ash or activate Ash or Imperm, so they cannot rank 2 lock you, so they can special. So I would recommend going this line if you can, if you open up the hand for it. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into some test hands. So with the first test hand, we've got something that looks pretty solid to me. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and activate our Rhoda here in the main. And we're going to add a... We'll go ahead and add a Cloak to our hand, because we have the Horus engine already. Yeah, we'll go ahead and actually let me take that back. We'll do the Torn Scales here, because we don't have a normal summon, and that's another way to get to it. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go ahead and declare the effect of Imseti pitching the Sark and Imseti. Because we're about to search one anyway. If this will be good if you have a third one. That's what I'm probably going to end up running as well. So we'll get to add a King Sark to hand, and we will get to draw a card. Awesome draw. So what we're going to do here is we're going to activate our King Sark just to have on the field for now. We'll go ahead and activate our King Sark, so we can pitch Boon. This card can activate in Graveyard. And then we will go ahead and Foolish a Happy here. And that'll go to grave. And then with these two, we're able to go bring out Happy and bring out Imseti. And now we can overlay these two into our Photon Lord once again. So now your combo is very much so nib proof at this point, unless they have Imperm and nib. And then we can continue on with the regular combo. So what we're going to do here is we could also use Mach Speed here to continue on and go into other plays. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and normal summon this, and we're going to activate our we're going to go ahead and activate our Mach Speed. So we're going to go ahead and take a material off of the Photon Lord to special him out, and we will detach Happy, and then we will overlay here, and we will go ahead and go into our Gabunga. So we can go Gabunga here, and declare Gabunga effect to add a Goblin Rider. So we will go ahead and add our Doug to hand. And Doug was going to allow us to detach once again and special himself. And Doug will allow us to search for the other spell that we do not have, which is Grand Arrival. And we will add the Grand Arrival to hand. And then we will activate our Grand Arrival. So from here, we can search out one, detach if we want to. We definitely don't have to, so because we have Grand Arrival or Grand Meeting already. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add our Mionda to hand. So we'll add Mionda to hand, and this will go to grave. Not going to worry about that. You can detach at this point because you're able to use her effect, or you're able to use the Grand Arrival effect to detach it in special. But we've already used Boone's effect, so there's no, for me, there's no really point. And then at the end phase, he'll get a second material, so you also get another additional trigger off of the Crazy Beast. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and activate our Grand Meeting. And Grand Meeting will let us normal summon another goblin monster. So we're going to normal summon our Mionda, even though we have already normal summoned our twin skills. This is our second normal this turn for goblins, so we're able to do so. And now we can go ahead and activate Grand Arrival, targeting our Mionda and our Doug. And we're able to overlay these two and create our Crazy Beast. So very similar inboard. We also have Ashen Hand, so this is pretty solid. We have this will get an additional attachment during the end phase, of course, so we're able to attach our the Noisy, Clutter the Noisy, I believe is his name. Yes, we'll add Clutter the Noisy here. And then we will overlay these. And moving back to where he was. So you have another monster negate. You have up to 2 spell trap sucks. So if somebody else is playing the King Sark stuff, again I mentioned, or if any continuous spell, you're able to just deactivate its effect and then suck that up and add it as a material. And then whenever you detach, Gabunga is going to let you snatch or do the same thing like a Machinax would and suck up another monster. So you're able to do this this effect once per turn off Gabunga. Crazy Beast, if I'm not mistaken, is not a once per turn effect. It is not. Oh yes, it is. It is once per turn effect. So you can do that's once a spell trap, 1 monster suck, and 1 monster negate. So when the moment you usually use Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord on a normal summon, you're able to detach off him and then reattach that monster to him. So there's a lot of slick ways that you can activate these cards and just they run off of each other. And not to mention, again, these cards can detach off your opponent's monsters. So you're able to do a lot of snatch stealing, like materials off of your opponent's stuff, so you benefit off of it. So this is going to be an absolute crazy deck. I hope you guys get some time to play around with the deck a little bit. Let me know down in the comments what stuff you're cooking with for this deck, or if there's some things that I could be adding into this deck to make it a little bit better. So, guys, I'm thankful for you guys to come by and look at some of the combos and look at some of the tutorials that we have for the Goblin Rider stuff. My name's Tom with Tryhard Gaming, and we'll see you next time, fellow tryhards. See ya.